So British Sign Language, it's a beautiful, unique language, and it's used by over 70,000 deaf people in the UK alone. Consists of its own structure, grammar and syntax. Communication for British Sign Language users in the hearing world can be a challenge, and deaf BSL users heavily rely on interpreters to enable them to access everyday services that hearing people take for granted. With only 375 qualified interpreters in the UK, which 2 of them are here tonight, thank you, highlights the sheer shortage to supply the demand. People assume that all deaf people can lip read and fully understand, but in fact only 25% of what is being said is actually being understood. Over the past few years, the government decided to close deaf schools and mainstream their education. This was a daunting realism when I tried to imagine young deaf BSL users being forced into the hearing world with no form of communication with their classmates, never mind their teacher. Would these children ever fit in and feel part of this school? It was a completely different world for them. They would feel excluded, isolated, struggling accessing everyday school life, never mind netball and football teams. These feelings of concern is what gave me the inspiration to set up the School of Sign Language. I wanted to raise deaf awareness in schools, and boy, they needed it. I remember one of my very first visits to a local college, having a conversation with a deaf student, to be shouted at by the teacher and told it was rude to point, when in fact the student was only using reference. I wanted to provide BSL courses that were available to all ages and abilities. I wanted to create valuable employment for deaf people, enable them to use their skills and life experiences. I wanted to create positive work placements where deaf people gained confidence and self-esteem and actually believed in themselves. I wanted to provide affordable interpreters with a range of experience. I wanted to enable all deaf people to access all the services that me and you take for granted, just like sorting out your gas bill, your council tax, or even going for a job interview. I wanted everyone to realise that these deaf people were just as valuable, if not more, than all of us sat here tonight in the employment world. I wanted to empower these deaf people and give them a voice. I wanted to campaign along with the deaf community to recognise British Sign Language legally. In March 2003, the government recognised the language, but it still does not have any legal protection. This means that deaf sign language users do not have full access to vital information and services, including education, health and employment. We want to see an end to this. This was our very first pilot scheme, where we went into local primary schools where we taught a 10-week British Sign Language course, and the response was absolutely amazing. The children engaged so well and looked forward to the sessions each week. At this stage, I knew my business was going to work. Okay, so here goes, next step. Right, I needed business support. So I went down to my local business advisor and discussed my ideas. I came away absolutely deflated. She didn't share my vision, my enthusiasm, my drive. Why couldn't she? Because I think I was just another appointment. But she did point me in the right direction of a course which I attended on a weekly for 4 weeks. I learnt there about the importance of marketing when running a business, the corporate image and the difference between a sole trader and a limited company. Then I was scared half to death by the legalities of employing staff, learning about cases where employees had sued employers, and I was terrified. I asked myself, did I want to still do this? And yes, I did. I was asked to create a business plan within 24 hours with the possible of a start-up grant at the end of it, and I needed this. So I sat up all night after I got my girls to bed with nothing but a blank template to work from, but I had to do it. And hallelujah, I got it. I couldn't believe it. It was like winning the lottery. It was my chance. It was only £1,600, but I was amazed. So I was awarded the £600 and I spent the money very wisely and very quickly. I set up as a limited company, as a forecast was estimated at 32,000 in the first year. I created the logo, remembering the importance of the corporate image, and paid for insurance, remembering those stories of the employees suing the employers. At this stage, I really knew that I could do this, and so did others, and my confidence grew, and so did the wealth of support from others who wanted to share my vision and support it. And these people were people who I'd worked with in the past, and they all brought different skills and attributes. One friend designed my website, whilst the other wrote policies and procedures for me. And volunteers were really keen to be involved, and my friends and family support was overwhelming. Here I am with some of my volunteers in the early days. And marketing, I visited a well-known local photographer and asked if he would sponsor us, and he said, of course. You know, he created 200 images, which I used for the website and marketing material, and it was all free. Right, okay, so what barriers did I face? Well, there was no income in those early days, none to pay the bills. I was a single parent, and the only source of income was mine. I worked 3 part-time jobs as well as getting the business off the ground. I worked all day, and when I came home at night, I started on my business. My dining room had become an office with papers everywhere. And my girls also needed my attention, and I felt at times that I was denying them attention. But, you know, I wanted to give them the things that they needed, and I knew this was the way. So there was there wasn't enough hours in the day, and I knew I needed to start employing deaf people to deliver these services, because without them this would have been ethically wrong, as this is why I'd set up the business. But would there be enough work? Would there be enough business to pay their wages? This was a gamble I had to take, and I've learnt in business that if something feels right, then go for it. Everything was going well until I found myself in ill health, but luckily, due to the support of my employees and volunteers who believed in the vision and the business, my business continued to strive, and in my absence. So, what do we provide? I've gone too far anyway, never mind. So, what do we provide? So, I've obviously talked about it. We provide sign language workshops for all ages and abilities, tailor-made deaf awareness training courses in businesses, schools, college, community groups, CACDP Level 1, Level 2 courses, affordable diverse interpreting services, and recruitment opportunities for communication support workers, and excellent opportunities for volunteers and students. So in 2 years, what have we achieved? Okay, starting off with the £1,600, I wish it was 16,000. Startup grant, it was gone in the first week. Our turnover to date is 170,000. We've won and been nominated for International Award for Linguist of the Year 2006, the RNID Community Award. BBC Two See Hear programme visited our first pilot scheme where we were teaching British Sign Language in schools. My manager Mary won Employee of the Year award for all her efforts when taking over the business while I was in ill health. Most recently, got runner-up for Barclays Trading Places Award 2007. Hot New Faces 2008. See Here, we're eager to use our profile to be seen on March the 26th, BBC Two. If anybody's interested, that was the plug. So we also engage in the latest technology, offering British Sign Language tutorials using iPod, where everybody in the UK could access British Sign Language free. That was in order to celebrate Deaf Awareness Week 2007. And since we set up the business, I've not paid a single penny on advertising. It's all free editorial. And a quick picture of me collecting my award. And with the famous Ted Robbins, and there's Beverly doing the iPod, and me getting interviewed by the BBC. And I just thought I'd put some pictures in, make it visually nice. And to back up what I'm saying. So as a businesswoman, I've overcome many barriers. Yes, I'm a single mum and I'm a sole income earner, and I've struggled with childcare when setting up the business and balancing work, which isn't easy, but it's doable and now very worth it. And us women have the ability to multitask, which has already been mentioned today, and we can do it, you know. And we also have the ability to talk, which is very handy when networking. And these abilities of a woman gave me the self-reliance, determination and strength to succeed. And I've got 3 more pictures for you to look at. No, there's no more coming up. So I'll leave it. Oh no, I'll leave it.